Good evening, my people. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Keeping It a Buck. Today we're going to do something a little different. Like everybody know, like they say football is a man's game, but we stepping away from that for the day. We got, about 5 mothers here today, 4 or 5 mothers here of some promising young athletes coming up in the area. And they're going to share, what it's like being a mom in the process of dealing with a high-level athlete. For those of you who are not aware of what goes on with high-level athletes, there's never downtime. They're always working out. They're always training. They're at school. They're taking visits. It's never downtime. So sometimes you have a single mother doing it by herself. Sometimes you have, a joint effort with a mother and father. Sometimes it's the Pop Warner coach doing all the running. But it's a lot of running involved with that. It's a lot of money spent, and it can cause division. It can cause division a lot of times because you got, fathers, and some of us are real demanding on our sons. And then, mom is the caregiver. Like, she going to ease that up. So, today we got Stephanie Salters. She's the mother of freshman quarterback, rising freshman quarterback, going to Don Bosco Prep. Donovan Salters. We got Shavella Mena. Everybody may know that name. That's the mother of Masai Mena, St. Peter's Prep, all-world quarterback. We got Sabrina Carrera, another mother of a rising freshman. Her son Santino Carrera, freshman, going to Bergen Catholic. His name is he's been tearing up the scene since youth football. A lot of times we don't like to get those kids up here before they made their name on high school, but their mothers are so impactful in what they do that we couldn't leave them off of this list because their mothers is really instrumental in the success of their kids, and their kids have had some success, a lot of success thus far. And then we're about to go like another way with it, man. We got Charlene Miles, who's the mother of 8th grade rising freshman KJ Miles, who will be attending St. Peter's Prep. And that kid currently got 2 offers already. He's a defensive end. What's his measurements, Nas?
About 6'4", 225.
So 6'4", 225.
4'9" in the 40.
Yeah, so,
Laser time.
At the end of the day, man, we don't want to put no pressure on that kid because, he got to grow into his body. Everybody know in the trenches is a lot harder to experience success right away, unlike running back and receiver skill positions, because the trenches, you're dealing with a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds that's been in the weight room for a very long time. So we're not throwing out his offers to put pressure on. We just saying when it's his time, it's going to be his time. So, we're also going to get into some, some current events, man. I've been reading up on some things, seeing a lot of things going on. New Jersey high school is becoming
We got one more kid, though. The last but not least. We got Keisha Berger in the building.
How can I forget that one? We got soon to be 5-star running back Jalen Berger, the mother of Jalen Berger, Keisha Berger, who's been very instrumental in the success of her son. Running from, in the end, man. The kid takes a lot of visits already, and he's been offered by Alabama, so that speaks for itself. I don't even got to name the rest of the offers because if he got that, he got a couple joints there.
He got a catalog.
Yeah. Oh, also while we talking about offers, I want to shout out, my man Ed Tedesco's boy Christian Mahogany, man. Currently got 12 offers. Finally got that Rutgers offers, and I feel funny saying finally because we got to stop finally being there, Rutgers. We got to get there first. Like, this is your backyard. You know what I'm saying? But congratulations to Christian on that, man, and don't hold him against him. Use home. Give home the first look more than anything else. And while we actually talking about home, let me just get into it. And I want to be real careful on what I say because this information hasn't been made public, so it may not even be true. I'm an insider on a couple college boards, and while on Michigan's board, Michigan was actually talking about they lost two transfers, speculated to be the kid Kurt Taylor from Grayson out of Georgia, built like Jabril. He's a bad boy.
Back?
Yeah, him.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why they speculated it's him. And our very own, Kareem Walker.
What?
And the reason why they, the speculation, the reporter reported that it was those two is because they recently had Jim Harbaugh at the Grand Valley State Midwest elite camp for the high school kids. Mm-hmm. And they was talking about, his transfers, and he said that he wouldn't, and respect to Jim for this, man, he wasn't going to get ahead of it. He said he'll let the kids tell it when they want to tell it. So he wouldn't tell who the kids was. However, he spoke about his whole team coming back, his receivers corps, his running back corps, and he named everybody except for Kurt Taylor and Kareem Walker. So, well, I don't know whether that's true or not. I just want to say, if Kareem, if you not there, man, keep your head up. Remember, when you smile, the world smiles with you. When you cry alone. Yes, so pay attention to who's there right now. But
he gonna be fine though, Kareem.
Yeah. Talking about Rutgers, and then kind of segue into Kareem. Let me bring it on. I also read on another insider that Corey Bowles might have left Penn State as well. And these are two from the home state. And I just saw him
up there. I just saw him up there.
So I mean, Corey, if you tune in, because I know a lot of the Paramus Catholic be tuning in, man. I mean, let us know if that's factual. Same thing for you, Kareem. But I wanted to.
That's family right there.
What stands out to me about those two is that we're speaking about Rutgers, and it's like it hit me. When we talk about recruiting, we talk about deal with who's messing with you the hardest. But another thing that just hit me in that process is like, they went to school in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They can't even come home because you can't transfer in conference. So as me being, a father, if my sons were so talented as those two to go to school, that's something I'm going to have to consider from whatever state I live in. It's like the home state, like, because you always got to have a backup plan. People even do it in relationships. So let's not even act like backup plans aren't in play.
Right.
So now when I say to myself, like, okay, son.
What would be their backup plan right now?
Well, for mine, it should have been Rutgers because, and that's just my opinion. Not saying it has to be. It should have been because you're the hometown kids. Because I just feel like the hometown school is going to put the hometown kids in a position to put on for the hometown.
True. Mm-hmm.
But that's not even an option no more.
Is that sort of like when you dealing like in the Big North and a kid is go from one program to the next, or even more. Let's talk about youth sports, right? And you have a kid that's playing in East Orange, and but he wants to go and play in Newark. You know what I'm saying? Now there are waivers and stuff that's involved with that, and then coaches have to sign off and so forth like that. I'm wondering if that's the process with the college. Like if it's possible, Kareem would want to go or can go to Rutgers if Harbaugh green lighted. If you say, you know what, I don't have no problem with the kid going Rutgers. I want to see him well, you know what I mean? But he's just not a fit here. Can he green light that, or that has to go through a court process?
You know anything about that, Nas?
Only thing I heard about, if it didn't work out for you at your school, that you'll be eligible to go and play at your hometown
under
school.
hardship though. So like if a parent was sick or something, because you need to be there to care for them. And then even in that, I don't know if that counts for the same conference, because going home can mean, okay, you want to go home to be close to your parents. You can go to Monmouth. Like they might try to play those games with you. Like, and I'm not really informed to the T about this, but Alabama.
Right.
Like Alabama had the kid from Georgia.
Brandon Kennedy. I think he's a center or something. Brandon Kennedy. He wanted to transfer, I think it was his 5th year. He was trying to go to Georgia with Kirby, and they didn't, I think Nick fought it, you know what I'm saying, because I guess he didn't want to face the kid or whatever. I don't know. But he fought it. And I think it was some kind of court procedures took place.
It got messy. Let's just leave that.
It got messy.
It got messy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even sure if Harbaugh can sign off on it. I know transferring, your coach signs off on it to ACC.
I'm being 100 though. If you Harbaugh and you supposed to be this guy, you supposed to be that dude. First of all, if you wasn't going to play the kid or, situations, whatever happened, at least make sure the kid is in a good situation. Don't just say, all right, he transferred, he on his own now.
Let him go. Let him free into where he want to be.
I want to know what the Chris Partridges is saying about this, or how involved are they in it? Because you know why? Because they was the ones that recruited them.
One thing, I don't know Chris Partridge now, and I can't really ever say I ever knew him. I'll be honest with you, I can't even say I ever knew him. But I've been around him. I've spoke to him more than enough, and I've seen him at Paramus Catholic, and even when he was there, he never stood in the way of a kid that wanted to leave going to another school. He would sign your waiver in a heartbeat. The only thing that he had with him is, if you go there, you got to stay there. Ain't no coming back.
Yeah.
But then again, Partridge ain't no shot caller at Michigan. He don't call that shot.
But Kareem Walker was the top running back in the country leaving high school.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
wasn't. He wasn't. He was a 5-star, and they demoted him from 5-star to 4-star. He wasn't the top running back. He was in the top probably 10, but he was no longer in the top running back. Neither here nor there, because you still one of the top. You were All-American, so that says that you deserve to be there and that you've put your work in.
I think he'd be fine wherever he go, man. I think there's some schools out there that will be searching for him and pick him up. James Madison, hey, hello. I mean, them some big time. It's a big time school, 1AA. I think he can go over there and play well with James.
Can I say one thing though, not to cut you guys off? If life was full of second chances, right? 9 times out of 10, them kids would go to Rutgers now.
That's what we need, though. We need Rutgers.
We do.
But we need Rutgers to start picking the right kids, man.
Yeah,
and building that program up. Man, you got Young Burger coming up. You got Young Burger coming up in the next 2 years. You know what I mean? What they need to be really doing is really putting forth some big men in front of him. They need to be investing in that. Linemen to get ready to say, Burger, I got something for you. I got a line for you.
Shout out to Marquise Watson, man. I just hit you up about a lineman. With the irony in that, but
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Jersey, man, we want to get Jersey. We want to get Jersey on the map. I would love to get Jersey on the map, but Rutgers got to buy in. They got to buy in and start picking the right student athletes, man.
Another thing though, I think running backs have to be conscious of their running style and the type of systems they flourish in. To me, Kareem flourished in the type of system where he can get big holes. If he can get big holes, he can really hurt you. And man, Wisconsin ain't did nothing but turn out big holes and big running backs.
Yeah.
It's not the glorified spot.
Yeah.
But every Jersey kid I ever know went there made noise.
Yeah.
Every kid I know that played running back there made noise.
I agree.
And we got to stop. I'm not saying this about Kareem or Corey or anybody, because I talked about this before the Living interview. We got to stop picking colleges by the name on a helmet and the hot thing. You got to pick what's good for you,
I
man.
think he might have picked it off trust.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about Kareem. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about. When I speak, I'm speaking to all of the kids.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Because he made his decision, but there's kids coming up that got decisions to make. That's who I'm focusing on right now.
Right.
Got you.
Real quick though, I want to veer off to the left real quick, and I want to give a shout out to Tahir Whitehead, man.
Yes.
He came home, man. I appreciate the pro athletes coming back home and giving back to the community. He had a very successful football camp for the young men. It was loaded out there. Nas was there in the building. It was loaded out there.
Over 600 kids, man. He fed them all, gave them all gifts. You know what I mean? And trophies,
Gave them
awards.
gifts?
Yes,
Gave them gifts,
hats
man.
and everything.
Everybody,
bro.
man. You know
Shirts,
what I'm saying?
book bags.
And it's beautiful to see, because what happens is a lot of the pros, they go to whatever state that they're playing in, and then they get influenced to start to contribute to that community out there with state they in. And 10 out of 1, sometimes those community is highly supported but their family members and other members and sponsors around them, where they don't really. I ain't gonna say they don't need it, but
Basically, Newark needs them more.
We
than
need it
everybody
here.
else.
You know what I'm saying? And I just appreciate the fact that Tahir Whitehead came back with his fourth. This was his fourth one.
He do it every year,
His
man.
fourth one, man. And now he done inspired the young brother Al-Qadim Muhammad, man. Now he's here. His first. Going into his second year as a pro athlete, and he's already, giving it to the community. He's always around the community, letting these kids see him.
Word.
It's important that the kids get to see you pro athletes, man. When you
They get to
leave
touch you, feel
this
you.
community, Jersey is on a move, and we're on a move because now you guys are being seen. So you have to come back home, man. I ain't gonna say you should. You have to come back home. You have to come back home so these kids can see you. And Aquadine got a big camp coming up June 9th, this Saturday. Saturday at Shabazz. And I think it's going to turn out really well.
Is there a rain date?
Nah, that's just the date right there. But
Yeah,
shout out to all the people that was showing me wild love, man, at the Tahir camp. I had a guy come up to me and said, this is very informative information that Keep It a Buck is doing. And then also I had a guy, my man Ron King father of my team. His father came up to me and said, hey, I got some hats for you, man. My guy Phil out of Far Rock and Gary from 22 Famous Nobodies they wanted to give us these New Jersey hats, man, and you know, for the show.
Man,
To represent, man. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, man.
Nice,
and
yeah,
them joints is nice, man. But
yeah, I'm New York, man, but I rock it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll get you a New York one.
Nah, we good. Like this is a souvenir. You know, this is my second home, man.
Man, you Jersey now, brother. New
Yeah.
York slash.
Yeah, so they tell me, man.
Jersey.
So they been telling me.
Slash
You know
Jersey,
what I'm
man.
saying?
Also, I want to make mention, man. We this Saturday, Brick City is having a health is wealth fitness in the park. We like for people to come out and trying to get people stemmed up to start training and getting a healthy nutrition lifestyle.
I started.
Thank good Naj, you started. We find that we got the kids, like we had these beautiful parents coming in today, and we run around with children getting in shape and getting ready and so forth. And so what we want to do in Brick City is sort of bring that environment to our parents, man, so we can start from the top. If it starts at the top, it could trickle down to the children and become a lifestyle, opposed to just we always getting in shape or losing weight for a wedding or
for the summer
or a party. You know, we want to try to implement doing something as a lifestyle, man. So this Saturday at 10 o'clock, drop your kids off if you can. Just make sure they cool at Al-Qadim Muhammad's camp. Make sure everything is good with your kid, and then run over to Weekway Park and come get you an hour and a half of workout. Go back over there to Al-Qadim and pick up your kids, man. We're gonna be out there getting in shape.
Yes, sir.
Also, I want to bring to all the listeners, man, like, you know, on our Keep It a Buck page, we open it up for everybody, man. Like the brother Ahmed just let you know about Al-Qadim's camp coming up. If anybody in the community from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut got anything going on, DM us, man. If you a kid that feel like you being overlooked, you know, some of us in here got a lot of connections, man. Let us know you out there, man. We could talk your name, man. Send your DM us your highlight. We'll put it up on our page if you that one for real. You know, so we here for the whole tri-state area, man. Like the whole community. This is open to all of you, man.
This is beautiful.
But I'm ready to bring these ladies in, man. I'm excited. Yeah. I know that this is going to be the show.
This is the show.
And this show right here will give out positive information to the world. And you know what to do.
Hold on, Nas. What we gonna talk about? What's some of the things you feel that people need to know that these parents can enlighten them on?
What is it like raising a student athlete? How much they kind of invest into it.
That's in a nutshell, Nas.
All right, well, you know, I ain't gonna let y'all giving it away because I can tell y'all excited,
I'm
man.
ready to go.
Let's bring them in, man.
Okay, let's bring them in.
All right, so we just go, you know, from my left, which is your right, you know, around. Just introduce yourself so everybody knows who's here. Pull the mic. Don't be shy.
Well.
Yeah, say who you are. Say who your son is. Take the mic.
And then we're gonna go around to Sabrina.
Got it.
Take the mic.
Sabrina Correa. My son is Santino. He's going to be going to Bergen Catholic in the fall. I used to be a stay-at-home mom, but now I'm working. I'm an admin and I'm in HR.
Beautiful.
Charlene Miles. My son is Keith Miles Jr.
Known as KJ.
Known as KJ. He's going to St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City.
All right.
All right, Prep. I work for Morgan Stanley.
I was just about to say that. This is not going to be the same after the season. Like,
it's okay.
Yes, it is.
I can handle it.
Yes, it is. Right?
I can handle Keisha's, games.
Keisha, that's Jalen Berger's mom.
We all know mine.
Bottom line, we all Brick City, right?
That's right.
Okay. But I work for Morgan Stanley in Manhattan.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Keisha
Grab
Berger.
the mic, Ms. Berger.
Oh, okay. I'm Keisha Berger, Jalen Berger's mom. I work part-time at a daycare now. I used to be full-time in retail, but Jalen changed all that.
I'm Stephanie Salters, Donovan Salters' mother. I'm a 16-year veteran teacher in Jersey City.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Couple
Shavella.
teachers in the house.
Yes. I'm Shavella Brown Maynor. My son is Messiah Maynor Jr. at St. Peter's Prep, and I'm a labor attorney.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm very excited about this segment today because I think that this is what the show is about. The show is for us to give information to the people out there. And ain't no greater faces in here that can do that than you ladies, because y'all on the grounds with your children running around, back and forth with trainings. And I heard Keisha and you guys talking about what they're eating and all that strenuous stuff. She tired just thinking about it right now. So, and I know it's a workload, Also know, speaking to a few of you guys personally, some of you kids that having some struggles in some different areas. I want to ask you two ladies, first you, Sabrina, about, When did you learn Santino had a learning disability, and what did it do in the household for how did that feel?
I always knew. The school just didn't know. I knew because I could tell from his attention span. I could see that sometimes I would say things to him, and what I said and what he comprehended were just two different things. And there was nothing he loved more than football. And when he started playing football in second grade, they would all be in a huddle, and he would be looking at the duck flying by. And I'd be like, dude, get in the huddle. Go with your team, get in there. And, I used to have to tell his coach, make sure when you talk to him, you hold his face mask and you look him in the face and make sure he's understanding you. Because sometimes you could be talking to him and he's not really hearing you. So that's how I always knew. And then around second grade, the end of second grade, the school started noticing that there was some gaps in his learning. And then we started working together to get him help.
How did that feel as a parent? Because my son, I have my son. He is on an IEP as well, and hearing that, it felt like we did something wrong. It was like, damn, what happened? What was the mixture with us? What we do? And so we dealt with that kind of differently. But then we figured out, well, it's not so bad, because what happens with that, he gets extra time with testing. He gets to look at, he got a calculator. He gets a little extra perks, which was beautiful for him, So I'm just, asking you how, what was that like?
For us, the only thing I want is for my child to be successful. That's it. If he could be the greatest football player in the world, but if he's failing, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to private high school. If he wants to go to private high school, he's not going to college. You still have to step up and meet the standard of what the school wants. So if that means my son has to have an IEP, and by some people's standards he's classified, then let him be classified, because my job is to make him successful as not just a child, but as a man. And he has to go out in the world, and he has to be successful all the way around.
Nice.
So I don't care. You can classify him. He got a lot of crap in school. People used to make fun of him because he was in special ed. And that's okay. You learn to deal with it, and you just learn that you can learn. You just learn differently. And that's it.
Yeah. Charlene.
Yes. So similar. KJ was born 6 weeks early because I had preeclampsia. So I think almost immediately we kind of learned that he talked late, but, did everything physically early. So he walked early and, was like very toned and ripped up, but just educationally, or, we knew that there was an issue. I think we started to see it more in probably when he was 3 years old. He was at school in the JCC. And at that point, we were living in West Orange, and we knew that we had to get him in a school that had good services that could support him and help him. And we made the decision to leave West Orange and move to Livingston. And we were able to get great services there. It was very frustrating. I think, like Santino's mom, it's frustrating as a parent to see your children struggling and not really know why. Or how you can help them. But I will say that I was very active with the school to make sure that, my child was getting the services and treated properly, and it helped a lot. And they taught him a lot of things. Again, he does have an IEP, but, he's testing way better now, almost to the point where last year we thought about removing the IEP because he was, at the standard or almost above, so.
And the thing I want to point out, because a lot of parents think that that's a stigma, and being involved with youth, especially in sports, I just want to tell people that kids go to Ivy League school with IEPs and 504 plans.
I seen a guy with Notre Dame with it.
Everybody learns different. So you just heard from two parents that their children attend some of the most rigorous high schools in our area, and they have an IEP. So these kids are not, for lack of better words, they're not dumb, because you have to have good grades to get into these schools. I know they can play ball, but those two schools specifically don't really make exceptions for ball players. Like St. Peter's will make you go through grind.
Yes.
What's the young gentleman we have talk to the kids, that came back? He had to go to a summer course. Like he went to school all summer just to get a shot at getting into St. Peter's.
Correct.
My son went all the way to the last day of June.
Yeah.
And to get accepted into St. Peter's.
Correct. And they test them prior to.
They
And,
do.
I'm one of the things I'm very proud of is KJ tested in in AP math. So he's not even going into the regular math. He's going into the higher level math.
Same.
So I just feel, obviously he's doing the work that he needs to do, to be there.
And another thing, when you study testing, because I work with my son like tirelessly. Anybody can tell you I work with him tirelessly. And one of the things we work on is being able to process information quickly. So being able to read and then know what you read quickly and answer it, because that's what most standardized tests are.
Correct.
So a lot of people don't know your kid can be very bright, but if he needs time, SAT doesn't permit time unless you have one of those plans.
Correct.
So now you have a kid that might know all the answers, but he's not finishing each section.
Correct.
Because his issue was never addressed.
Yep.
So for a lot of parents, like, you really need to explore that option, because it can't do anything but open up doors for your child. It isn't a stigma. You got to put him in a position to be successful. Just because you can't work in certain time constraints doesn't mean that you can't work.
You're right. And I have to tell you, just to take it a little bit further for some of the educators in the room, I also think that when you're in an environment like in Livingston, there wasn't a stigma. So they actually brought the special education teacher into the mainstream class. So your kid was never pulled out. So every class has 2 teachers. So even kids who weren't classified benefited from that special education teacher. So he never felt any different because they pulled it in. And I mean, I know this isn't about schools, but
this
other
is
schools
good. This is good
really
stuff.
need to consider stuff like that,
Let me
so
tell
that
you,
kids don't feel uncomfortable and don't seek the help that they need.
It's other moms or dads out there that have the same issue and is afraid to speak about it.
Correct.
And you guys are out here speaking about it, so the people actually are able to learn from you guys to move forward.
Absolutely.
What I wanted to ask Salters, and this school for Shavella and Keisha as well, what is it like raising a student athlete?
Student athlete. So obviously student comes first. In our household, education was paramount. It was first and foremost. At age 3, we put him in junior Kumon. We figured get him ahead as much as he could get ahead, as early on as he could. Only because
Who's
we
he?
both, my son Donovan.
Okay.
What do they call him? Donnie who?
Donnie
Bosco. And the reason for that is, like, my father had an 8th grade education. My mother just graduated high school. My husband wasn't even raised by his parents. So we kind of had this dream that, he had to go to college and he had to do things kind of like our parents pushed us. So we put him into Kumon and we pushed him as far ahead as we could early on. And by like 4th grade, he exited Kumon because it became too much with his schedule. But our philosophy basically was with that, get him as far ahead. We didn't know if he was going to be an athlete. We didn't know if he was going to be an artist, if he was going to be into music. But whatever he did, extracurricular, he was going to be doing something. And we figured if he was that far ahead of the game, then there wouldn't be a struggle at night when he came home to do whatever he had to do. Yeah. And, so far, so good. It's worked. He's a true honors student. He's made the National Pop Warner All-American team.
Congrats with that.
The Presidential Award for Excellence and Physical Fitness. So, the student comes first, but then there comes the training. And the training is very difficult. Right. He has to be self-motivated. My husband and I work 12-hour days. He has to come home. He has to do his homework, get it done, get ready. When we were playing in Brick City, be ready by 6 to, get to Brick City on time, get there 6:30, sometimes a little late. Sometimes get home 10 o'clock at night and then go back to studying. So it was very, very, very difficult for all of us involved.
I'm a witness to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shavella.
I think with like yourself, in our household, education is very important. And one of the main reasons is because my parents are educated, both with masters as well as Vernon's family. But one thing about my father, but by the grace of God and him ending up with a football scholarship, he was able to provide the type of environment we grew up in. And my father played all sports, and that's how he made it to college. But once he got to college, he realized that he was ignorant. He was really uneducated. And the reason why he was because he played all those sports. His teacher just passed him on. Good game, JD, good game. So he got passed on. So when he went to college, luckily he went to a historically black college and university, Lincoln University in Missouri. No, the one in Missouri.
Oh.
So luckily he went there and he had to be educated. And the teachers there, he was dedicated, and the teachers there took the time to help him get to where he needed to be. So as a result of that, when we noticed with Masai, from the time he was really small, we noticed that he had athletic ability in that he would just run around our house. So we put him in track first, and then we put him in Pop Warner. And in our neighborhood, he was just out running, and his ability was much higher than the kids he was playing with. And then we ran into Nas. And as a result of running to Nas, he started playing in Newark on a higher ability. And, he learned so much more athletically. But in our households, education has always been important. We want him to go further, do better than we have. And so college, how we grew up, college was something you do right after high school. It's mandatory. Yeah. So that's the same for him and Sky.
I just want to take my hat off to you because we had him here. Very articulate, very well spoken.
Thank you.
You can just tell by the way he speaks that he's got the point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Keisha.
Well, in our household, education definitely is important. You're not going to be able to do any of the sports. You can't run track. You're not going to play basketball. There'll be no football, not unless your studies and your work is done, as well as being a well-mannered individual.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
That goes hand in hand because there's no way you're getting good grades in school and you're messing up and your behavior and your teachers are saying you're being disrespectful.
Yes.
Every time I speak to any of Jalen's teachers, they say he's the most humblest kid they have ever witnessed, and that is going on today as he's a sophomore in high school.
Yes.
That they have no problems out of his behavior. Well-spoken, he sits down, he does his work. We struggle sometimes because his schedule is crazy. He's exhausted because we get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But he has to study.
What's going on 5 in the morning on with his day though? What is that like? Like from 5 in the morning
I'm up at 5. I start getting everything prepped. I get him up about 5:15, 5:20.
What we getting prepped?
Breakfast. He has to have breakfast.
What's his breakfast?
Bacon,
Talk to me,
eggs,
Key.
and cheese-based biscuits.
He put on a lot of weight.
Yo, that boy look like he ready to play college right now. So we need to know what's going on with Mr.
He
Burger.
has to eat based on what he does all day.
Do he have any particular meal he want?
No, well, he has it. It's just bacon, eggs and cheese, biscuits. I do raisin toast. Whatever it is. He always has orange juice to go stuff because he's eating in the car a lot in the morning.
Right.
But he gets a real breakfast every morning.
Ladies
Not
and-
just like a bowl of cereal because he can't do that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, I know Keisha Berger personally. She was the first mom that I ever met out here with the me coaching in the game. I coached the oldest son, and believe it or not, he was chiseled and ripped up like Jalen is, and his other brother, which was Shaquille Berger, that came behind him. I think Jalen had a good crew to come up through.
Well, Jalen learned the sport of football by watching. He has been on the field ever since he could walk. I was holding him actually when Eddie and them played for North Ward. Him and Pooh, kind of grew up on the sidelines. So we knew he was going to do something because it was always ready, set.
And all in the house.
We had to buy him a helmet because he was so
ready, set, out.
Yeah.
But being like the moms, right? And normally people see dads or fathers involved. Like, I want to know, and just real quick from each and every one of you, I want to know, what's your role in your son's athletic life?
Well, for me and Terrence are partners.
Gotcha.
So basically, if he can't be where Jalen needs to be, I'm there. I'm there the brunt of the time because he's a truck driver. I put my career on hold. I mean, I've been in retail basically all my life.
Yes.
And I'm like, with his schedule, I had to say, I can't work anymore because I got to get him up to Bosco. I got to pick him up. I sit at every practice because he got thrown into varsity. So I'm like, I got to sit at every practice.
And that's why I grabbed this mic, because I wanted to make that a general question as the moms. Before you guys came and we spoke on fathers, a lot of us are real tough on our sons.
1 second, because we wasn't introduced to you.
Oh
I
yeah,
really
yeah.
don't know who you are.
I'm Lenny. Yeah, we'll
It's
get
Lenny
to know
from
better.
Spring,
Yeah,
Spring Valley, but we'll get
Okay,
to him
all
later.
right.
yeah. So
I'm like talking to somebody. I know these guys. I know you.
yeah, as fathers, we kind of tough on our sons, and a lot of time mothers got to step in and like, you know, that's my baby. You know. Do any of y'all experience that dynamic in y'all
In our house,
relationship?
I'm the toughest on Santino.
So he getting it from the mom.
When mommy says, if he says, how'd I do? And I say, well, how do you think you did? And he knows that tone comes. He'll say, well, and he'll tell me what he did wrong, and he'll tell me what he thinks he did good. And then if I say that I was, like if we go to the gym and I think he's slacking, and he'll say, well, how'd I do? I said, you just wasted an hour of my time. And that kills him more than anything. Because I'm like, if I'm going to drive here and I'm going to give up my time, then you need to give 100% while we're here, because I'm
Talk to
paying
me.
money,
Gosh.
I'm using my time, and you're here to work out. I don't care, you know, what you're doing or whatever, but this is my money. This is my time. You're taking me away from everything. You give it 100%. And if you're not, then just tell me you want to stay home, because I'm not going to do that. That kills him more than his father saying to him, I think you could have put 20 more pounds on the bar. That's just the way it is, because it's me. And he knows that I think that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So if I'm telling you that it was no good, it was bad.
Gotcha. I want to hear from you.
Well, Keith is very involved, and because of
Keith who? I'm
Keith
sorry.
Miles, my husband.
Okay, husband.
Yes.
Okay.
So because I work in the city, I'm not able to be at every practice. But I'm definitely at every game and volunteering to, you know,
I agree.
be with, you know, one of the team moms or help whatever I can. But we definitely divide and conquer because we have 2 sons. So I end up spending a lot of time with Xavier and shuttling him around, and Keith kind of has been shuttling KJ around. So, but food-wise, I mean, obviously very important, you know, and I definitely handle the nutrition portion of it and the education portion of it, but I definitely know the game. I had an older son who played, so I'm familiar with the game, and I also will tell them, like, you're dogging it today. You know, you could do better. You know, don't come with that bold junk.
Ooh.
Let's, you know, so definitely get involved with that.
Tell me.
Go ahead.
I just want to know, you know, by everybody here, you know, I just would like this to go around. Let's start with Sabrina. Like, tell me something interesting about Santino, you know, outside, you know, that we don't know.
Most of you know him just on the field, so you see this kid who's super competitive, and like when he's on the field it just turns on at a different level. But literally he is the most mellow, chill, laid back kid in the world. You would never think that he has that side of him if you were to see him off of the field. He's just like, you know, yeah, whatever, like just rolls with it, and you would never know that that's that side of him. Like, it always amazes me to see him as like this kid who's, you know, turns it on like that, but then he's like this little boy at home and who's just really a sweet kid and nothing bothers him, just
mellow.
Just so mellow.
Yeah.
And so
I get that.
so it's like weird to me that he just has that little switch that comes on when he's playing football.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So similar, I think KJ is a very kind person. He loves animals. And he would be happy to be in his room funky, playing video games all day. Like
I think that's probably
Filling up the house.
Well, Jalen is a great swimmer. I don't think a lot of people know that, and I wanted him
Could
to
you
join
tell us
the
where he learned how to
He
swim?
learned to swim at camp.
Yes, talk about that.
Okay, so Camp Key Waiting, and I'll shout them out. I mean, up in Vermont.
That's where you get his height from, right?
I think so, because the air is just clear up there. He's breathing from the mountains. He went to camp 5 years. So he started at 8, which killed me because I'm like, my baby, 6 hours away. I'm dropping him off for 4 weeks at camp. Did not know how to swim. They said, oh, he will have a swim test. So by the end of the 4 weeks, we go to pick him up. He jumps in the lake. I'm like, no! He just comes up, and I'm like, wow. I mean, and now he's like this. He can swim with the best of them. Butterfly, backstroke. Wow. He's
Gotcha.
a very, very good swimmer. Very
Steph,
good swimmer.
could you tell us something about Donovan that we don't know?
I guess I would have to say that a lot of people think that, sports are just all Donovan does. He eats, breathes, wakes up, everything is sports. But the fact of the matter is he could probably count on one hand how many baseball or football games he's watched in entirety in his entire life.
Wow.
He's not someone who sits there and will watch a game. He'll watch film and look to get better for quarterbacks and stuff, and read defenses and do his homework. But to sit there and actually watch the game, he could care less. Wow. And he kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He's got the intellect that's kind of on a different frequency. So with that, he doesn't really have like the same likes and dislikes that a typical athlete usually does. So he likes some of the intellectual things along with that. Like he likes anime. He likes to watch memes, and stuff like that. And he'll play video games like an ordinary kid, but he'd rather be, into that little bit of kind of his own corner of the world. And I think that people sometimes misunderstand him because he carries himself at a different level based on that.
Gotcha. There's Shabella.
Masai is an old soul. He likes old school music. He likes to watch old movies. Very much chill. Very much would prefer to just be home, just chilling out, watching movies, hanging out.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I wanted to ask. Not to go that way, but I know that a lot of our kids, like right now we got 2 of them here now that's in high school already. So I wanted to kind of ask Keisha, what is it like? What's the college recruiting process like right now? Because I know you all across the country and things like that, and same thing with you, with your son, you going to camps, and we all across the world with it. So I want to kind of educate our parents on the recruiting process and what you go through.
Not to cut you, Nas, I like that. I want to add on to that. I want to know, him being in the 10th grade, well, his 9th grade year as a freshman, what was that like when he first started getting college offers and stuff like that coming in the house? What was that feeling like? Also, along with the numerous offers that's coming to him on the table right now, I want to know about that. Like, what was that like? How did you guys feel? I know you had to keep him humble and so forth and like that, but
well, we really didn't have. Jalen is Jalen. Jalen has not changed not one bit from his first offer that was Maryland to this last one that was Ole Miss, and he has 22. I would say, yeah, no, it's and to be honest, it is a blessing because the kid has not changed not one bit. It's like it's crazy. He got Alabama, and it was like, I think we're halfway down 17. He was like, "Oh yeah, I got Alabama today," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, what? And I didn't want to call Terrence. I'm like, no, I'm not going to call. I'll let him do it. This kid comes in the house. Terrence is home. He went upstairs, took his uniform off, he's relaxing. And then he did Terrence the same way. He was, oh, yeah, I got Alabama today. Terrence was like, what? But that's just Jalen. Yeah. And to be honest, he has not changed. The experience for us is unreal. It's like something... It's like a fairy tale because the kid works so hard. He has been the little brother to his brothers and playing on the field and watching their games, and now it's his turn, and it's like, his brothers and his sisters support him. The whole family supports him. I'm grateful for the support that I have of my family because I don't think without them this could be possible because there's a lot going on. But It's something. It's something just going to these colleges and meeting these head coaches, and
they greet you at the door.
Wow, and they love on your son, and they, and it's like they tell you things that I'm looking at him like, okay, it's Jalen, like, okay, he's running the ball, there he goes, and they're like, well, no, he's this guy, but now. He couldn't do what he's doing without that offensive line, and I have to say, for the 2 years that he played, the offensive line has been phenomenal, and they'll say to him, we're going to give you this much. And he's like, I need that much.
All I need.
Give me that much, and I got y'all. So.
Where's he playing
at? Bosco. He's playing at Bosco. That was a journey in itself because, to be honest, we didn't pick Bosco. We weren't even going to go to Bosco. So.
That's what I wanted to ask about. Y'all process on choosing the high school that the kids is going to.
But I have to say that Toll and Till won us over. It was something that we wasn't expecting. We actually didn't even put Bosco on when he took the
what was his
co-op.
first choice?
Co-op.
What was his first choice?
The family's first choice
Family's first choice.
was Joe's.
Okay.
That didn't work out.
I know y'all sick. Talking about Joe's.
Well, it didn't work out. I mean, respect Coach Augie. School is phenomenal. It just didn't work out. And you know what? God always has his plan.
That's
Right.
So that wasn't in the plan. This was in the plan. And this was something that Toll said the best will play.
Gotcha.
So he came in as a freshman. He went to one freshman practice. They said no, up to varsity.
Yeah.
And then, he got an opportunity. It was in the plan. They had him at wide receiver,
Yes.
but it was in the plan.
Did you feel like him when he going to high school that he will be this running back in high school?
I always felt that
Okay.
because it was something that he wanted. And Jalen is an introvert, but when he puts his mind to something, he's quiet about everything that he does. You're probably not going to get that many words out of him.
Just knowing them young playing defense and hitting people.
Right.
I felt that he was like a new Sean Taylor or somebody at this
Hey, we
bug.
might see some of that in 2018.
Okay.
We might. It's a team effort. So you know what? We have a nice young team, and the team is building. And what they're doing is they're creating that atmosphere of brotherhood, and they're working together, and they're meshing, and they're gelling, and I love it.
Gotcha.
I can't say anything wrong about the boys that are coming up because we had maybe 11 sophomores.
Gotcha.
So
Shavella,
now-
I want to ask you a quick question. What was your son's first offer he received?
His first offer was Rutgers.
Okay. And
His first, and
how
he
was your
was
feeling in the household?
he was so excited.
Okay.
He was so excited, and I think he was really excited because I think he felt like, all these years, like I've been playing ball since I was 5-6 years old, all the way through the ranks, all the training, all of the extra that they do to be successful. He was like, oh my gosh, like I have an offer,
Yes.
So it was really exciting for him. It's really exciting for the family,
Yes.
because, we're not used to this football thing. So getting used to how it goes and stuff. So it can be a little nerve-wracking with all of the context that you get from the coaches and, trying to figure out the right fit for him and where the best place for him to be. But, all in all, like, it's a great accomplishment.
Gotcha.
So.
You talked about training, and I just want to know, how much do you think that you invest, talking about money dollars wise, over the years on your training?
So much that I had to get a job. It's a lot. I had this conversation last year with Ahmad, and he asked me, and I was like, oh, and Santino was maybe 13. I was like, oh, so far it's great. Yeah, that went right out the window because, we try to keep him limber, so we take him to somebody who stretches him and keeps his body limber. So as he's growing, his muscles are growing with him, so to prevent injury. And then he's lifting weights, and he's doing speed training, and he's doing conditioning, and it's crazy. It's crazy. And now you're talking about education, private education on top of it, and just traveling with them, and the food, and
the camps,
and the camps, and the hotels, and then the gear, and they need this, and they need that, and the cleats.
Like I know,
It's crazy.
For a fact. Like Donovan's mother, Miss Salters, Stephanie, I met her at Don Bosco at a camp. That's one, and then her son go to like Medee Williams quarterback training. He been going there for how long?
Since he's 8.
Since he's 8, and all the camps could. How was the total added up on you and your family?
Well, I work 12-hour days now, so I took on the director of the after-school program. I work 3 to 6 now after I'm done with my regular job, and my husband takes all the overtime that he can. So, we jockey him around. Grandma, Grandpa, Uncle Bobby, thank God they're around because they pick up the slack where we, can't. But basically, between his quarterback coach, he's a 2-sport athlete, so his hitting coach, impact zone where he goes, with Dave Palladino. The professional stretching, the cryotherapy. He does chiropractic there.
How old is he?
There.
25?
He's 13. He's
Goodness
13.
gracious.
And
plays for the Giants.
basically, I got to tell you, it's like a secondary mortgage. It's
Yeah.
like having a second
lot.
mortgage. It really
It's a
is.
lot.
And that's why, we downgraded some vehicles, we did some things and moved some things around just so that we could provide him the opportunities because that's what means to me. We had one child because that's what we could afford, and we're going to give him the best of what we can.
That's nice.
If it means me driving a Toyota as opposed to driving, my luxury SUV, I'll suck it up and do it.
Nice,
Gotcha.
nice. I want to ask a question with Sabrina and also you, Stephanie. Why did you guys choose Brick City as your youth organization, and being that you guys live in Bergen County, and do you see any benefit in youth sports?
Okay, I'll start there.
Go ahead.
So I met Nas at Don Bosco. He actually came in 100-degree weather up to my husband at the top of the bleachers
Yes.
and said, "I see something in your son. Come try a workout." So we did. We went and we tried out a workout. Now we came from Lodi where he's throwing passes. And
You got to talk about it. You
ball-
got to talk about the whole thing now.
So the ball's going between people's hands.
Yeah.
They're falling all over the place. I'll never forget. He was at a basketball camp. We come to Brick City, the first workout, and he's just surrounded by athletes, and they're all studs, and they're all good at what they're doing. So he's throwing to receivers. He's getting live action. So we were sold basically the first practice as far as that goes.
Tell them how your first season flees.
So now we come and, he's here, everything. Now, my husband is coaching in Lodi because he already committed to that. So the burden's on me. I'm coming to Brick City, strange city by myself, okay, every night for 5 nights a week in the
Yes,
summer.
yes.
And all I know is Nas. That's it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now I'm with strange people. I'm in a strange place. My husband's back in Lodi coaching because that's how we are. We're loyal to a fault. Okay, so he stayed back in Lodi and held his commitment. So as we're doing this, Donovan didn't have a great first season at Brick City. It was actually
How many passes
full of
did he
lumps.
throw?
Donovan threw 0. If you ever see the hashtag 0 on my
Zero.
Instagram
Now
or on my
y'all know.
Facebook, he threw 0 passes his first year as a quarterback. Took me out of a town program. Nas was like, this is the best place for him. I trusted him. He threw no passes. So now we're at the crossroads. Do we come back a second season? Do we not come back a second season? Talking with Nas, going back and forth. We can't really go backwards now, we feel, because of the type of athletes. But I'm doing him a disservice that he's playing 8 to 10 games and he's not throwing a pass. He's throwing them in and hitting Derek Miller Whitehead in stride. The kid's, light years above everybody, and he didn't throw a pass. So it was very, very frustrating. But I put my faith in Nas and what was going to happen. And the next year we went to the national championship. So, and
Hello.
he threw passes. He had the best of his career. I say it all the time. The best of his career at Brick City and the absolute worst.
Gotcha.
Sabrina, talk to me.
Yes. So I know Nas for a long time because my older son went to Bosco, and Pooh used to be up at camp. And my oldest son because he went to Bosco, he would be at camp, one of the guys up at camp that would help the kids. So I always knew who Nas was. And we were on the Bergen County Stars, so obviously we knew who Brick City was because obviously they are fierce competitors. And it always seems like it's the two of them going head to head to go to Florida. So I knew who they were. I have a thing about Santino getting comfortable. And sometimes it's not good to be comfortable where you are. And sometimes you need to be taken outside of your comfort zone. And I felt that he needed to step up his game a little bit. I thought the ability was there, but I wasn't seeing it. He kind of got a little bit he just wasn't pushing 100% like I knew he could. And Nas invited us down to Brick City to work out. And for the first time, Santino walked in somewhere. And there were all these boys that were just amazing athletes. Mm-hmm. And he was out of his comfort zone, and he didn't know what the hell to do with himself because they were just killing it at this workout. And he wasn't killing it at all. And I saw something ignite in him. I saw something that he said, wait a minute, I need to work harder. And the moment your child sees that, and they had that light bulb turns on, and they realize that it's never going to be easy. You always got to work hard. You always got to give it your best because the day you stop, someone else is taking your job. And that's what happened to him at Brick City. And for the first time, he came to his father and I and asked us, can I work out? can you put me in something? And he never wanted to work out before. We could never get him in the
that
gym.
competitiveness in him.
Huge competitiveness, because he didn't like that he wasn't finishing on top. And Nas was there, and he'll tell you, in the beginning, he looked like ass. I mean, it is what it is. And then, that's the truth.
But it's beautiful to see what he is now, what he
That's
turned out to be.
He was not where he is now.
Yeah.
And then Nas will tell you, by the time he started going to workouts 2-3 times a week, you saw him stepping up and becoming a better athlete. And that's what we wanted for him, because honestly and truly, he's always going to have to be outside his comfort zone. Always.
Yeah.
You're going to go to a new high school and you're going to have to compete. You're going to have to, if you want to play in college, you got to walk in there and you got to compete for a job. So you should never be comfortable. And Brick City showed him that. Brick City showed him how to be a competitor, because he needed to learn to be hungry. And he wasn't hungry. And I wanted him to learn to be hungry. And that's the greatest gift that Brick City gave him. And that's the God's honest truth. Because
Appreciate you, Mom.
It
that's
is.
the truth.
I met.
Yes.
It's funny because I met Vernon Maynard at Don Bosco Prep, same place. I met half the kids that probably came from Burke County down away, and from that day it was just I could tell you the story. I sat in the crowd, and Maynard was going, and Maynard
He was a running back then.
running backs, right? And his dad said, "Oh," Maynard shook the kid. He said, "That's my son. That's my son." He was going crazy. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up, man. That's what's up." So at the time, my son was like about 7 years old, and he was like a little shifty guy. So he did a move, and then Maynard gonna smack me. He said, "You see that?" I said, "Yeah, that's my son." He said, "So when you do the training and stuff?" I said, "Just bring him down to Branch Road Park and let him come." And I tell you, her son running back, one of the best I've seen that did it. And then for him, well, you could tell it.
He's actually, the stars aligned, because basically with us working in Newark at that point,
Yes.
Masai was going to start going to school in Newark.
Same
So
place.
it just lined up
Yeah.
so that he could make practices and everything. But Masai's a quarterback now because of you all. You all saw that in him and was like, "We want you to try this position." And we were like, "Quarterback? No, he's a running back."
Yes.
But, you saw that in him and developed that. And going to Brick City and him being in Brick City, he developed athletically to a point that if we would have stayed in our neighborhood town, he wouldn't have gone to, because like everyone said here, the level of ability in Newark at Brick City that you experience, and the level of people that you play against, just takes you to another level, because you want to
Agreed.
compete.
Gotcha.
And when
I
you
agree.
have that within you, it gets ignited at a place like Brick City with the coaches, with every aspect of the program.
Let's go, Brick City.
I wanted to ask this.
We
question.
loading up.
Now
Brick
look,
City.
all of you ladies here now, we for some reason we did choose private, but I want to know why private over public.
Want me to
Well,
Okay.
we chose private over public because we wanted him to be at and I'm sure there are some public high schools that are at the similar level as some of the privates, but we wanted him to be someplace educationally that he could get the best education possible, and we also wanted him to be someplace athletically where he could compete against various teams so that he could make it to the next level.
Gotcha.
And so that's why we
What about
chose
you,
private.
Just take it around the room.
I'm going to comment similarly to her. I was a product of public school. I really wanted to go to private school. I wanted to go to Immaculate Heart Academy. My parents didn't have the funds. I was a stud athlete, and I wasn't afforded that opportunity. So that's the one thing that I could say I actually wanted better for Donovan than myself, because they play a national schedule. Both his sports, football and baseball, there are both stellar and they're top notch. And Lodi Public Schools, where I graduated from, it's a different element now than when I went there. So I mean, he would have some opportunities, but the opportunities at Bosco, it doesn't even compare, in my opinion.
Got you.
Well, for us, it was the same thing. He needed a challenge. I didn't really feel that putting him in a public school would have challenged his ability. We kind of saw what he could become. So to put him on that national scale, for him to compete against or in the Big North could only enhance his ability. You know, so for us that it was a no-brainer to take him up to the Big North.
Nice.
And prep was always our first choice.
Yes.
I mean, our older son graduated from there. He went to Essex Catholic, and when Essex Catholic closed down, he graduated from St. Peter's Prep, got a football scholarship to the Naval Academy. So we knew from a football perspective and educationally what St. Peter's Prep offered. And, you know, just to go back to Brick City, KJ played Pop Warner football in Livingston, where he was the best kid on the team, right? The tallest, the strongest, the fastest, and he played running back.
I was about to say that.
Right? And, you know, they taught him how to stiff arm, and he was unstoppable. And for 2 years, the Livingston Pop Warner team went to the Super Bowl with KJ as one of the star players.
running backs.
Yes, as the star running back. And when we came down to Brick City, again, it was a totally different level of competition. And my husband knew, he was like, if this is going to be his sport, we really need to put him somewhere where we can see that, you know, where the competition is, because he's not getting it in Livingston.
Nice.
So, and, you know, Livingston is a very good school educationally, sports-wise. Their predominant sports are lacrosse and baseball, not really football or basketball. So, you know, that really wasn't an option for us from a sports perspective.
Nice.
My oldest son went private. My daughter went to public. My oldest son went to Bosco. For us, I believe in less distractions is better. Santino knew that he would always go to private school for high school, because I think for boys it's very important to keep them on track, because it's very easy for them to get distracted. I told him he could pick whatever private school he wanted as long as it was all boys. That was a huge thing in our house, is that I did not want him in a co-ed school. I think there's enough distractions when you're a teenager, and just having girls running around is just one more problem to add to the pile. So that was a huge thing for us. So that was part of the reason why he's not in public school. I think there's something to be said about wearing a uniform every day. It keeps the competitiveness about how you look and impressing people, that keeps it down, because everyone looks the same. You all get out of the car in the same ugly khaki pants with the same ugly shirt and the same ugly shoes. And after a while, you stop caring. You just go to school, you do your thing, you get your education, you play your sport, you do your homework, you go home. You go to school with girls, you're worried about what your sneakers look like, what your hair looks like, do I smell good? I can't deal with that. And that's the guys. And I mean, obviously, education is important and playing sports is important. But when you go to a private school in the Big North, you can't play football if you don't have grades. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
And
Amen.
that is so important, because when you know that you are answering to your coach, and your coach depends on you as an athlete, and then that coach gets that report that you're failing a class, and now you've just let down your entire team, that keeps you so focused to do what you have to do.
Absolutely. I agree.
So for me, it was never an option for anything but private school for him.
You mentioned something about girls, and I wanted to get into that. How do you? Well, I don't know if they're having problems now, but how do you handle the women problem?
I want to ask Berger that. Because he the oldest right now, and I don't know
if that matters
How do y'all handle the women problem?
I know the girl.
Okay, he has no time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the time factor works in my favor. Okay. When they're a student athlete, it's a student athlete. You got your workload as far as your classes, and you're studying for tests and homework, and then the workouts, and then the camps, and then, you know, traveling to go to different colleges to visits. You really don't have time.
Yeah.
Now,
Everything is.
does he meet girls? Yes. And that's fine, because he's a young man and he should. But far as him being serious and then focusing on, I got a girlfriend, I got a date, I got to go to the movie, he doesn't have time. So any girl that's talking to him has to understand, and she has to be a sport girl. You have to love sports, because why would you want to date an athlete or be around an athlete and you don't understand football, basketball, track, swimming, whatever it is?
Right.
But a lot of these student athletes don't have time to.
They live very focused, structured lives. And for us, we don't have the issue with the girl thing. Masai does have a girlfriend that he's pretty serious about.
It's a girlfriend or a friend? I'm just want to know.
No, it's a girlfriend.
Okay.
But
Talk to me nice.
What works very well with this relationship is the fact that she's in boarding school.
I was about to say, what school she go to?
Yeah, she goes to Blairstown boarding school.
Do she play any sports?
Yes, and she's an athlete.
Okay.
So she runs track, and she is very active, and he is very active, and they support each other, talking on the phone. They sometimes do their homework together, looking at each other on the phone. And she rarely comes home. There's certain times that she can come home, and may have a date. And the parents, we both know each other. We've known each other since they were both like maybe in 6th grade, because they ran track together. So it works, but they're away.
Can I ask you something? Any of you guys ever athletes?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what sport?
No, I wasn't.
Softball and bowling. I actually was a professional bowler. I won professional title.
I wanted to bring that
Okay,
out. I wanted you to bring that out.
Okay, nice, Miss Salter.
Talk to us
That's
nice.
actually how I met my husband
Okay,
in Florida.
Stephanie.
I was bowling on tour, and I kind of
You was on tour.
he came up north. Then. Yeah.
Oh, get him out the crowd. Yeah. Keisha, did you?
I ran a little track at Weekway. Attempted basketball, but I was a fabulous cheerleader. Cheerleading is a sport.
Yes, it is.
They give scholarships for cheerleading.
Yes.
I ran track and was a cheerleader also.
Who are you?
Charlene Miles.
Okay.
I was not an athlete. I grew up in the
I'm
Bronx.
with you. Neither way.
I grew up in the Bronx. We had nothing. And you just didn't ask to play sports. I was 16. I went to work. That was it. I got my working
was a
papers,
bookworm.
and I went to work because we just didn't have it like that.
Okay.
So that's just the way it was.
I got another question. I want to ask everybody. It's a question for everybody. What are some of the strengths in your student athlete that you know that you can stand for, and then what are some of the things that you think that he should work on? Starting with you, Sabrina.
I would say his strength is that he's not afraid to be a little different, because it's not easy to do what these boys do, because there's so many other people pulling you in different directions. So I would say not being afraid to not be part of the crowd is a huge strength. And I think that's not just for my son. I'm going to say for all these boys, because when you're at this level, you can't be part of the crowd.
Right.
You're always that kid who's, no, sorry, I can't hang out tonight. Mm-hmm. So there's something to be said about that, because they have a different, their mind is different. They're just wired differently. I would say his weakness is that he gets frustrated, because he's such a competitor. So he wants it to, like things aren't great. Mm-hmm. He gets frustrated, but that's also comes with his immaturity, because he's still young. Mm-hmm. But he's very critical on himself. He's his worst critic, So, I think that's hard. When you're a kid, it's, he's still a kid. He's,
right.
He may look big, he's 6 feet tall, but when he opens his mouth, he's a kid.
Wow,
Talk to me,
he's 6
Charlene.
feet now?
Yes.
Talk to me, Charlene.
So I think one of KJ's greatest strengths is he's a technician. So he wants to do technically everything correct. So if your foot position is here, or you need this move or this swim move or whatever, he wants to do it technically perfect. Mm-hmm. I also think that is one of his greatest weaknesses, because he wants it to be perfect, he gets frustrated and he gets down on himself if he has a bad play, and sometimes he doesn't think outside of the box because he's so focused on getting the move correct and being in the right position and knowing the play correctly, that he sometimes just doesn't play the game and think outside of the box and just kind of go with like if you're in a certain position, just do with what you're supposed to do. If it's not exactly the play, but you tackle, you make the tackle, then that's what you do. And so I think Kate just struggles with that a little bit.
I want to ask you, as his mother,
Yes.
he and Santino and Salters are the younger guys coming up.
Yes.
Your son has 2 offers already.
Yes, he does.
Does that put a pressure? Do you feel like your son's under pressure, or do you worry about him getting that type of attention this early? Like, what what was your feeling on it? I know you was overjoyed, and then after that comes the reality that there's a lot of expectations
I'll be
for an
honest,
8th grader. He's an 8th grader, guys.
Yes, and I'll be honest, Coach Nas had to tell me that the offer was real because I didn't believe my husband. And he was like, talk to Nas. I'm like, what's this, Nas? So, yes, it is very exciting. Again, having gone through this process with an older son, we ended up with late offers for my older son. So having him so early is amazing. But I don't think, we joke with KJ, actually, we call him Forrest Gump, because KJ really is like in La La Land. So as far as, being cocky about it, like he really is not. Like he knows that he has the work to do. And we keep saying, don't feel the pressure. Don't get cocky because you're only in 8th grade. You still have to make it through high school and you have to play. Like you have to show up. So just because you have the offers now, you still have to show up for 4 years of high school. So, we're not looking any gift horses in the mouth. Like we know now the hard work has to begin. And I think for me as a parent, what I'm concerned about is because people know that he has offers, right? I hope that his teammates embrace him and don't think that he's coming in and being a show off and being cocky, because that's not my son. My husband, yeah, but not my son. So I just hope that, the team embraces him, because for KJ, it's very important that he feels the brotherhood. And I think Nas will know this, like his first year in Brick City was a very difficult transition because he came from Livingston, number one, where he was the best player in his opinion and ours and the coaches, to some competition, and he wasn't as accepted, right? Because and that was a tough year for him. And I think once he made a lot of friends, and we actively had a lot of kids come and spend the night at our house to make sure that he was accepted and built those relationships and those friendships. And I mean, every weekend Keith was coming home with 5 or 6 kids and I was feeding everybody. And it was nice. Yes. It was nice, but it helped our transition, or his transition, a lot with Brick City. So that's what I just hope for him, that he goes to prep. One, he shows up and he does what what his job is, but also that his teammates embrace him. And,
they will.
They
will.
I have a question for Sabrina and Stephanie. Throughout, so you guys, Santino, they're looking forward to Santino's arrival at Bergen Catholic. KJ, the whole state already knows his name. To my understanding, you guys took the reclass route. Am I correct?
Correct.
Would you do anything different? Do you feel like it benefited your kids, or, because some parents are critical towards it. Other parents understand it and know that it could also be, a move like that can save you $30,000 a year. So can you guys speak on that to kind of like educate people about?
Of course.
I don't have any regrets. I do what I do for my kid and for him to be successful. When you come from public school and you're classified and you have an IEP, the amount of help you get in the classroom is a large amount. When you move into private school, you get help, but it's not at the same level. I could have thrown Santino into high school last year and he would have been fine. He's an athlete. He would have stepped up. He would have did what he had to do. And once he's a sophomore, he's going up against 18-year-old boys. So he's still some 19. So the fact that he may have a little bit of an athletic advantage freshman year because he's that year older.
Who say that?
A lot of people say that.
No. I'm here to tell you, a lot of those kids, you're at a disadvantage almost now to kind of be
because
13.
Now people are expecting him to be, he's older, so look what he did. He should be better than that. And that's okay because people are going to talk, and I don't care what people say. That doesn't matter to me. But my son still has to walk on the field sophomore year and compete for a job because they're sophomores, juniors, and seniors all already on that field, and he's competing with 18 and 19-year-old boys that right now my son may look like a big kid, but when he walks on that field and there's a senior standing next to him, he still looks like a little kid. And but he's competing with that boy. And that's the rest of his life now. That is the rest of his life. So do I think he has an advantage? I do not. I just don't.
And again, Coach Nas knows that I wasn't a fan of reclassing, particularly for sports. But again, educationally, I knew that KJ could benefit from another year. I mean, KJ is a 6'4", 15-year-old weighing almost 250 pounds. So his size was going to be there regardless of whether he was reclassed or not. And at some point, he was going to be on that football field just from his size alone. But I think athletically, KJ lacked confidence. And I think that this reclass for him really brought out a level of confidence that made KJ the player that he is, as well as, being down in Brick City and all of the off-season workouts, with Pro Edge is where he works out off-season. Without this extra year for that and this maturity, it helped him. He would not be.
We had to do a 3-way call, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Hey, I wanna ask Shavella the same thing.
The same situation with Masai. We classify Masai as well. And initially, I was like, "What are you talking about? Like we're holding them back?" Mm-hmm. But honestly, when Masai started school, he was younger when he started school. And the person who used to, his teacher basically said to us that maturity-wise, I think you should hold him back. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, we were like, no, we're not doing that. Like, what are you talking about? But after I had my daughter, I realized it's a difference for us. You have to do what is best for your kid, and it may be 100%. Better for us, may not work so well or be the best thing for someone else. But in looking at my daughter and my son, the maturity level that our daughter has versus Masai, she comes home and she's like, Mom, I messed up in math today. I think I might need a tutor. And Masai's like, who asked for a tutor? Like, that, But it is just something, and it's a maturity level that he gained by having that extra year.
I think we had to have that 3-way call too.
We had to have that 3-way call too
because she wasn't with it.
Y'all crazy. What is this about?
Said, could you talk to my wife?
But I do want to say that socially, I think it's a rough year for them because the kids that they were with in 8th grade that have moved on to high school, they kind of leave them behind, and then. For us, that's why we put him in DePaul, because he's in an 8th grade prep. Yeah, so he's with a lot of other children that have been held back, and he's in a high school setting. So he kind of got the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. I don't think I could have put him in an elementary school where it was K through 8, because I don't even know what he would have done with 12 and 13-year-old children.
I want to ask Stephanie her point on
this is the last question. Stephanie, I don't think we can get her question, bro. We got 32 seconds. It's over. It's a wrap, man. We got to shut it down. I'm sorry, Stephanie.
Damn, maybe we could do a part.
Nice.
Maybe we could do a part 2 with the moms.
Yeah. Yes, I know.
So,
I'm feeling that.
Hey, I appreciate you guys for coming to Keep It a Buck. We just trying to inform all the parents out here and the student athletes. Give them the information.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. It meant a lot to have you through here, because a lot of times we see the fathers as the face behind these kids, and everybody who knows anything know the queen controls the board and
exactly
chess.
We doing all the work behind.
So now everybody got to know the queen controls the board. Y'all see who's behind the success of some of these kids that's household names, and we want to thank y'all for coming to Keep It a Buck with us.
Thank you.
Yes, and I apologize for cutting this short right now. We could have did 2 hours with you ladies. It was very informative, and but we on the clock, and clock is money. And my man right here, he's tapping his feet over there trying to, but it's all good. But for all of you, for all the viewers, we're gonna be on. You can see it on YouTube. We'll have this broadcast on YouTube as well.
Living coming up.
And Living is coming up next for the next YouTube show next Tuesday. We'll be showing Living. We was
PC
here,
story.
Yeah, the PC story. We was here last week, so we'll be doing Living. But I really appreciate this. I appreciate you ladies. This was the most exciting one for me, to be
Yes,
honest with you.
yes,
brother.
yes.
Look at my man Alex. Alex, like, yeah, I love this one too. Yeah, it's probably gonna be loaded on this one, this particular piece right here. But thank you, ladies and
Thank you.
appreciate y'all much.
Thank you.
Much love, much love, much love.